Happy Magic Monday.
Hey, Lorna. Magic Monday. Magic Snowy Monday where I am.
And I'm coming to you from Maryland today, so I didn't get the snow, thank goodness.
Yeah, so much for March.
Yeah, I told you I wasn't going to go through another snowstorm.
Yes, that was one way to avoid that. Very good.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to share with you, something that has been on my mind a lot, and it comes up a lot. And I thought it'd be a great way to talk about what we have on our topic agenda today for Magic Monday. And that's this feeling that happens every so often with my weight loss clients who are, getting really down on themselves. All of a sudden they start feeling, well, this isn't happening fast enough for me. It's not happening. This always happens to me. My body's not working again. Everybody else can work, make changes and lose weight, but me, I can't. Why should I bother trying? And they get really, really down on themselves, just very discouraged and frustrated and, kind of get in that paralysis.
Yeah. It sounds like kind of like a broken record, something they've been dealing with for a long time.
Oh yeah. It's all too familiar, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And that really, gets us into the topic of this voice in our heads, right? This, we can call it the inner critic, the voice in your head, there's lots of things that we can say about it. But ultimately, the whole idea is that we all have this voice. And Christine, one of the things that you and I have learned over the years is we're never getting rid of this voice, right?
Apparently not. No, everybody has one, right? And it's never going away. So, and that old saying, what you resist persists. So that's why we're talking about this, because it's a game changer when you're able to tame it. You might even go so far as to say, make friends with it, right?
Yeah.
But it really is, it takes a deeper level of understanding of why you do what we do. Why do I do what I do, right? And if we're on this path to, becoming more fully, truer versions of ourselves, working with our inner critic, our inner judge, that voice in our head is an opportunity for us to learn even more about ourselves. Right.
Right. And I think that one of the really important points about that voice in our head, and one of the things that I like to say right off the bat, is that voice is actually trying to protect us. Right? It very often is the voice of someone that was maybe harsh to us when we were younger. We can take on one of our parents' voices, we can take on a coach or a teacher, and it very frequently is not very nice. But when you can recognize that it's actually trying to keep you safe, that's when you can become its friend, right? That's when you can say, okay, it has a good intention, it's misguided, and it doesn't understand all the things that I understand, but it is trying to do something that it believes is good for me. And that can really be a turning point.
That's a turning point, because again, what you resist persists. So it's not all about being angry or making yourself wrong or blaming yourself for being in the place again. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, this voice is working off an old map, right? An old set of programming instructions. And so what we want to do is recognize that map or that way of being maybe used to work in a much, different, younger, less experienced and wise version of ourselves. Yes. But today, we're grown women. We know a lot more about ourselves and the world and how we want to be, right? So we need to notice that that's all we need to do is we kind of have to take a pivot. And so it's about saying, okay, well, what is really going on here? What's the intention of this voice? What is it maybe trying to protect me from, as you said? Mm-hmm. And in my clients' cases, really, it's from rejection most of the time. It's from the uncertainty of putting yourself out there, of changing, because well, if you change, then, a lot of other things might have to change around you. Your relationships might change. How you talk to yourself and, show up in the world might have to change. And as we know, the reason the old map is in place is because we don't like change.
Change is scary, right? And it's fear. And I think that when you recognize it and when you can think about the thoughts as they're coming to you and kind of really take that step back, right? The pause, magic moments that we always talk about, and question it and say, is this really true?
Right.
And do I have to believe this? And the answer is no.
Right.
And you can say, all right, I got this. That voice can go somewhere else. I know that I actually am safe and I can do this. And I'm going to do what it is that I'm thinking about, regardless of what this voice says.
Right. You can push back a little, again, from a place of sort of, friendliness and sort of gentle compassion, and say, you know what, thanks so much. I got this. But I'm far more capable than you believe that I am. And maybe I've done that in the past, but I know I'm going to give this try a different way. Yes. Right. And it's so key. So, Lorna, the reason we talk about this, and we could talk about this for lots and lots of Magic Mondays, right, is because the one habit I think that comes to, the root of all this work about creating healthier, happier lives is how you talk to yourself. That paying attention to that inner dialogue, that incessant chatter that goes on, right? Because it bullies us around unless we really sort of bring awareness to it. And let's just be clear, right? All these strategies are great, but the most fundamental game-changing step is just to bring awareness to it. So recognize when that voice goes. Notice a mood swing. Notice a mood change. All of a sudden, you're not in a good place and you're not sure why. Right. So again, getting out of that knee-jerk reactivity, hit the pause button. You say, okay, what am I thinking and feeling in this moment? Right.
Yeah. And you actually just mentioned something else that I want to make sure that we make a point of, which is that, yes, the voice is very often a bully, and sometimes it's very, very mean, but it's also very wily. And sometimes it can say, oh, it's okay, take a nap or have that cookie. And that then can become the pattern that, sometimes we do need to do those things, but other times it becomes the way that it keeps you from putting yourself in the world. And so you want to be aware of that too.
You do. And so we want to recognize it. We want to understand its intention. And, part of recognizing it and working with it is we need to create this distance, this separation. So, because so often, it's just it's an ongoing commentary. We might not even be aware it's running, right? You just sort of accept it as true, right?
And we're just buying into it.
And we think it's us. We think it's our voice, our unique whole voice. And it's really not, right? So how do we detach from it? So I like a technique. It's kind of simple, but it's pretty powerful. Sometimes it works for me. So, when you're having a thought and say, oh, I'm never going to lose this weight. Oh, I'm so lazy, today. You might want to say, you know what? I'm having a thought that I might not be able to lose this weight. I'm having a thought that I might be really lazy. Notice we take it into the third party. So there's this little, enough space, enough detachment to kind of understand that voice is not you, right? And you can work with it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So we hope that you give it a try, hit that pause button. When you notice something just kind of off, right? Really kind of slow down and notice what's going on. All right. So
you are not that voice in your head.
You are not that voice in your head.
All right.
All right, guys.
Monday.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.